Hey everyone, well, welcome to Marketing Plan 101. Actually, that subtitle is an older one that beginning of the new year, but it is a New Year strategy for small business or create your roadmap for success. Either one, same class, but welcome. So just always start off the classes. You obviously came through the SCORE registration link, so some of you may already be very familiar with all this SCORE and all of the great services that SCORE offers, but I will always reiterate that at every single class I teach because it's so important to know all about the great services that they do offer. So as you can see here, almost 300 chapters nationwide, about 50 years old already. SCORE started out as the Service Corps of Retired Executives, but they don't really use that an acronym anymore because a lot of us are not retired executives that volunteer for SCORE. So a lot of great services they offer in addition to a workshop webinar like this one. They have confidential face-to-face, email, video, Zoom, however you want to meet with your mentor, free mentors in all different business disciplines, including financial marketing, manufacturing, business structure and planning. So just about anything you need, right? Except for legal, they can offer free legal advice, but pretty much anything you need for your business, definitely look up on any of the websites, your local chapter or the national site. You can look up and find a mentor and find one local or national. A lot of them work virtual now. So if you don't find one in a discipline that you need in your local chapter, you can look national as well. And do visit all of the websites, whether it's your local or the national. And it says Santa Barbara here. I didn't change that title, but that is the correct Monmouth who is hosting this today. So excuse that little hiccup there. But check out the local site. If you're not dialing in from the local New Jersey area, then you can just go to score.org to find your local chapter. And there are tons of great free resources on all of the websites for all chapters. Lots of downloads, business plans and all types of documents, webinars on demand. So check out those websites for all of those resources as well. And make sure you share them. If you know any other business owners and are not familiar with SCORE, spread the word. There's a lot of business owners that need those resources and they don't know about them. So, but check out SCORE, either the local chapter or the national chapter. And so a little bit of quick housekeeping. I'm recording. I just double checked. I turned the recording back on. So after the class, you will receive the recording, the slides, and a content calendar I'll be sharing during the class and talking about. So don't worry about if you miss something on a slide, I go too fast, you will get all of that information to review again, okay? So we do have on this webinar both the chat feature and Q&A. I don't typically get a lot of questions in this particular class. I think you all just realize, yep, I got to do a marketing plan. But if you do have any questions or comments, please share them put questions in the Q&A and comments in the chat, just to make it easy for me to sort out the questions from any just comments. So please do ask any questions you have. And now you're going to share in the comments box, if you can share what does your business do? Who does your business help? And I'm asking that in a specific way for this class. And then are you a business to business, business to consumer, or are you both? So please put it all in one chat box so I can keep it all straight. And also add just if where are you dialing in from? What part of the country? If you're in New Jersey, just put your state on there. I would love to know if we have all locals or if we're have across the country this one. So what does your business do? Who does your business help? And if you're business to business, business to consumer, or both. Okay, so start sharing in the chat box. So we'll appreciate it. And let's go ahead and start this. So a little bit about me. I have been in the e-commerce online space, as you can see here, since 1998, when the internet dinosaurs roamed the earth, as I like to say. I have been in the wine industry this will be my 18th year as of August, but I do work with all types of clients. I currently have let's see, I have a CBD business, a restaurant, wineries. I'm trying to remember all the clients, all different types of clients. So these are all the different types of industries I've worked with. I do teach for SCORE classes all across the country, including Monmouth, New Jersey, but I am located in Los Angeles, and LA is my home SCORE chapter, but I do teach all over the country for various trade groups as well as SCORE chapters. So thank you everybody for sharing. I see everybody's starting to share. I appreciate that. So far, we do have a California life coach. You're both all right. And wholesale packaging for consumer product brands in New Jersey. Let's see, we also have New Jersey pre-startup art classes for children, Houston, Texas. All right. Music publishing, skincare, Los Angeles, some locals here. In New Jersey, let's see, we sell AED products and CPR training. So your B2B and B2C. TAP solution, a lot of LA, I like that. We do Microsoft Excel and development to help with solving issues and making them more efficient. I like that. And help nonprofits, perfect. Yeah, and I do actually have a New Jersey tie. Both of my parents, my mother was born and raised in Bloomfield, New Jersey, and my father was born in New York, but raised in Harrison, New Jersey. But for their honeymoon, they drove out to California. So I ended up a California kid instead of a Jersey girl. So welcome everyone. Keep on sharing if you haven't already shared. And if you came in the room late, in case you missed my ask, everybody in the chat is sharing what their business does, who their business helps. If you're business to business, business to consumer, or both, put it all in the same chat box. And also where you're dialing in from, what state you're dialing in from, or location. We put Los Angeles as well. So share that, keep sharing. Love to know who's in the room. I sometimes use them as examples during the class. So just like to know. And we're going to start our marketing plan. So the world of marketing here, as you can see, I share this in every one of my classes. So if you've attended any of my classes, you've seen this. But I know it can be an overwhelming world of marketing, right? We have our traditional marketing, TV, radio, print ads, billboards, PR, promotional products. That's all I call traditional. And then our ever expanding digital marketing world, right? So of course, we've had websites around for how long now? Decades. But internet advertising has been around, of course, social media, email marketing, search engine optimization, text marketing, Wi-Fi marketing, new things like ad retargeting and geofencing advertising, social media influencers. So I'm sure the question is, where do I go, right? Where do you spend your time and money, of course, and all of these aren't really appropriate for everyone. It might not be where your target audience is hanging out or your budgets fit. So how do you figure all of this out? That's why we're here. So let's see. Of course, we're here in the marketing plan class. So I always share this with Ben Franklin. If you fail to plan, you're already planning to fail. So I developed this class, gosh, I think it was pre-pandemic. So we'll say about 3+ years ago. I was typically teaching all of what I call the fun classes. I was teaching social media and email marketing and all the digital marketing tools. But I realized a lot of the businesses that attended my webinars hadn't really had a plan in place. They just said, hey, I need to be on Instagram, but they didn't know if their customers really even hang out on Instagram. So that's where this Marketing Plan 101 came out. All of it, just back up before you start spending your time and money on marketing, not really sure if those are appropriate from that world, is really have a plan in place and see what that looks like. So we don't want to be this type of company. We don't want to throw the spaghetti on the wall to see what sticks. And we don't want to do this. We don't want to do what we call a marketing spray and pray, right? We fling the arrow, shoot the bullets, and pray that we get the bullseye. But all of those holes in there are your time and money, right? And we don't want to waste any of that. I know I don't like to waste either one of those. So we don't want to do either one of these. So we want to have a plan in place, right? So just in the basics, what is marketing, right? And I always go right down to the third point. Very simply put, marketing is telling people what you do over and over and over again. It's not a one and done thing, but you want to make sure you're telling the right people in the right place at the right time over and over and over again, right? So that's basically what marketing is. And this is the typical buying cycle, right? When we're talking about putting our potential clients or clients in the buying cycle, right? We start off with building awareness, right? A customer is looking at it like, I want this product or service. I do some research for that product or service. Maybe I do some comparison shopping online or offline or in the stores. I make the purchase, and then I might purchase it again. right? So we want to keep the customers, I basically call it gain and retain, right? And we gain them in that buying cycle of research and awareness. We get them to that purchase, and then we retain them in some way. We keep repeating it, unless your business is like one and done. They buy the product or service and they don't need you any longer. But if they're in that always constantly wanting them to purchase again, this is what a buying cycle looks like, right? And how do we meet them in each of those points in the buying cycle? All right. So why do we need a marketing plan other than not throwing spaghetti on the wall? It does maximize your marketing budget and return on investment, as I mentioned. Having that plan will hyper focus your time and efforts, money. It creates consistency. As I said already, marketing is telling people what you do over and over and over again. So having a plan in place helps get to that consistency. Reason 3, encourages deeper thought about your business and marketing. Beyond our crazy last couple of years, almost 2.5 years now, in a pandemic, you should always look at your business and make sure, evaluate it, whatever, 6 months, every year, and see, does everything still make sense for your business? Do people still care about your product? Is it still relevant or service? Do you need to retool anything, redo anything with your business? Is there new technology that's out there? So always looking at your business and stepping back from it and just reevaluating. Things change. I mean, look at, I'll use my restaurant client as an example. I started working with them mid-2019, so about 6 months or so before the pandemic hit. And we never would have imagined that menus would now change to a QR code on a phone, right? And I was just at a conference last week in Atlanta, and I printed out my capability statements. It was for procurement, and I had printed business cards, and I did hand out a lot of business cards, but every company there was putting up their little sign that said, here, scan our QR code. Who would have thought instead of handing out paper and exchanging paper with each other, it was just scan my code. Who would have thought when QR codes came out that would ever happen? So things change. So you have to retool your business and whatever fits in today's world. Unifies your team. So if you have staff, you always want to make sure you're on the same page with all aspects of your business, right? You have to all walk in the same walk and talk in the same talk. Right. And then it actually just improves your chances of accomplishing your goals when you actually write them down. So all very important reasons to have a marketing plan in place. So this is my marketing strategy circle. Sometimes I share this usually in all of my classes, but I don't go deep until this class. So we're going to talk about each of these steps. The only one we're not talking about today is 5, because step 5 is the channels. That's my social media class, email class, all of the other deeper dives into the class. But steps 1 through 4 and 6 and 7, we're going to go deeper into each of those. So we're going to talk about setting goals. Very important. Number 2, buyer personas. Who are your actual customers? What SWOT analysis is and a unique selling proposition. Your story, which is your branding, your messaging, all of that to appeal to your ideal customers. Number 6, what does a tactical plan involve? And then always measuring and optimizing and what that looks like. So we will go ahead and start with step 1. And just before I do that, I just want to look and see if I have any other, let's see, new people in the room who shared. Let's see. Okay, I got just like technical consulting, 2 businesses in Los Angeles, foodie themed puzzle book author, very interesting. Emergency crisis management consulting, very different types of businesses there. We have a book author, patient care, very cool. Let's see, scrolling real quick. And business consultant, cannabis related. I do have a new CBD client in Florida, so I'm kind of working in that industry now. Thank you everybody for sharing. Very interesting group we have here, and from East Coast to West Coast. So let's set some goals here. So that's the first one we're going to talk about. Is important in any aspect of your business to set goals. Definitely helps to get that in place. So we're going to talk about goals. What's the difference between business goals and marketing goals, right? So business goals, typically you're looking at things like sales growth, market share, number of deals, your deal size, your geographical reach, employee growth, assets that you might need to obtain, Do you need buildings? Do you need to have a storefront? Things like that. Marketing goals, you're looking at, how many leads you get, are your prospects engaged? Can you get media coverage? What channels do you need to be on? And of course, sales conversion from marketing. So a little bit different when it comes to your overall business goals and your marketing goals. So SMART goals, has anybody here, raise a hand, or you can drop it in chat and say yes. Has anybody ever used SMART goals before with their business or otherwise? Okay, I've got a couple people know. So if you're not familiar with SMART, you can see here what the acronym is: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So let's talk about specific. So when we're setting goals, and they can be micro goals, not your overall, I want to grow my business to $1 million, in business, or beyond $1 million, 7, 8 figures. I had somebody at the conference say, are you stuck at 7 figures and want to go beyond? I'm like, wouldn't it be nice to be stuck at 7-figure business? But you want to get more specific with it. You can set as many SMART goals as you want for your business. But you want to get specific, right? So not specific is, I just want to generate more leads. More specifics, I want to generate a greater number of qualified leads from our blog sales for our sales team. So they're telling you specifically where they want to grow and generate those leads from. So we'll see why that's important here. Measurable, I want to grow the number of leads generated per month for our blog by 20%. So you can be very specific like that. So we know what number are we trying to achieve, right? Is it attainable, right? I'm all for pie in the sky dreams as well as your, attainable dreams. But in this case, we don't want to go, well, we generate 100. So next month, let's do 1,000. That's not really attainable. And you just want it realistic. So set a realistic number. In this example, 100 to 120. Maybe you set a stretch goal to 140 or 130. And then when you achieve that, you can bump up your number, your goal. So making sure it's attainable. And then it's relevant. So in this example, it's relevant because they realized, by double checking this, that their blog leads convert to customers 3 times the rate of any of their leads from PPC advertising. So instead of spending that money, they're writing blogs and getting people to convert from there. So that's very relevant to what they're doing, to their goal. And time-based. So in this case, they want to grow them to 120 per month, again, because they find they convert better. So you can do it where it's, okay, I'm going to set this goal and it's going to be achieved by August 31st, by the end of the year, in 30 days. Make sure, though, again, following that attainable line, that it is attainable. You're not like, I'm going to, grow it by 20 more leads in 2 weeks. Maybe that would work, but make sure it does work within your time frame, and set a realistic goal. And some people, I'll include myself in that. I tend to work better at the last minute. So I think it was my journalism nature, banging out that story at the deadline, at the last minute. So my best work came, my essays in school always banged out the last minute. So if that's you and that's how you work, if it works for you in your business, great. But try to, and if you have a team, make sure everybody knows what the goal is and the timeline and all of that as well. And it works for everybody. So you're going to get a PDF printout of all of the slides. We have a couple of worksheets that you can print out and use, or make your own. But print these out and make a couple different goals. And again, make them smaller goals, not necessarily your overall goals. And I have consulting clients that all of them have to fill out my marketing worksheets. And a lot of them, when they do, I just say, just fill it out, and I kind of explain what it is. They have to watch this webinar, and again, I'm trying to find a couple to see what they're using for goals, but if I can pull one out. Acquiring corporate accounts with, this is a gift, food bakery gift business. She wants to grow her acquiring corporate accounts with any occasion box and basket options and catering ordering. That's her SMART goal. What do I want to happen? Specifically, growth in corporate clientele, at least, and how will I know when I achieve my goal? At least it's measurable, at least 5+ accounts with my monthly orders. Attainable with consistent outreach and product variety. relevant, important, and further establishing brand and increased product awareness. And she wants to achieve it by May 21st, 2022. This was I think February. So might be a little bit too soon for a goal, but that's how she said it. Give you an example. So buyer personas, very important one. This is where I find that when I talk to people and I say, so who is your ideal client? Who does your business help? Right? Oh, well, I can help everyone. I hear this all the time, that everyone is my client. And I don't know, did anybody actually fill out who is their client base, right? So who do you serve, right? And that's the hardest one to come up with, because in some cases, some of us could help almost anyone, but realistically, should we help everyone? There are customers that shouldn't be our client, right? And as Seth, who is your customer? Everyone is not your customer, Seth says, right? Are you fishing in the ocean? You're trying to get everybody? Or are you fishing in a pond? Really, most of us should probably fish in a pond. This way we're targeting down to our ideal clients, right? So buyer personas. Anybody ever set up buyer personas for their business? Raise their hand or just put in chat, yes, we've set up buyer personas. That's maybe why you're here, right? Okay, so it's good to know. So what is a buyer persona? It's basically we got a yes, couple yeses here, cool. Buyer persona is a semi-fictional representation of your ideal customer based on market research and real data about your existing customers. And why is it important to create those, right? So if you have multiple segments, different types of buyers, you want to meet the needs of each of those segments or each of those buyers. They could be completely different and they need to be marketed in a completely different way, right? So that will help you create that more appealing content for each segment if you know who they are, break it out. Maybe you just have one, and that makes it easy. You only have one type of client that you're looking for, and you can appeal to them in one way, right? And hopefully generate a higher quality leads if, again, you're targeting those specific leads, right? You're fishing in the pond, right? Not trying to fish in the ocean. And so how do you find data to create a buyer persona? So you definitely taking data from existing customers. So if you do have existing customers, look at who they are and why they came to you or how they came to you. Right? And who are, you might not know. Some of you might have a storefront and people walk in the door, buy their products, and you know nothing about them, right? So it might be a little bit harder, right? If you can, carry out customer interviews, figure out who they are. If you have a sales team, if they have any insights on customers, insights from business or other digital data online, market research, go out there and see what's happening in your space for your particular industry. And then gathering buyer persona data from market research. So you can do that as well. And explore audiences of bigger industry players if you have them in your industry, as well. Who are they appealing to, as well. So there's different avenues of looking for buyer persona data, right? And then there's some simple questions to ask about your buyers, right? What are the values of the audience? What type of audience are you looking for? So are they stay-at-home moms, which means it might be budget conscious. Not all of them are, but for the most part. Or they're a corporate executive, more luxury lifestyle. They have two different needs, right? Two different needs, two different attitudes about spending perhaps. So who are they? How do you appeal to those different types? They're going to be appealed to in different ways. And what are the pain points, right? Need versus want. So example here, HVAC service, air conditioning, heat and air conditioning. My air conditioning breakdown is 100 degrees out there for those New Jersey people with matching humidity, all right? So do you want to save money right now or do I want to cool down? Sure, I'd love to save money, but my immediate need is I need to cool down. And if I have to spend a little more because it's broken and I can't save the money, that's my need versus my want. Right? And where and how will they be reading your information? So casual at home, iPad on sofa, mobile while riding on the bus or the train, waiting in a doctor's office. How are they consuming your information? Right? And do your buyers want to be talked to or talked with? They want conversational or clear, just give me the bottom line, just get out the labor pain, show me the baby, as that a boss say. And what action do you want your buyers to take at that moment? Do you want them, hey, come on down and buy something and use my service? Or are you just planting seeds for that particular? So this is the start of mapping out buyer personas. Now, all of these questions may not apply to your business or what you're trying to build as a buyer persona, but these are typical things you're going to include. You want to know who they are as a person. Are they a particular age group? Do you only work with females or males? Do they have children? And if you're working, this is a tricky one. I don't know if anybody I'm looking at the list here. Does anybody here work or a product or service for children? And just raise your hand if I'm missing it. What, teenagers and younger, so 18 and below, I guess you can say. So do we have one here? Art, that's right, art classes for children. So are you appealing to, is your buyer persona the kids? No, right? The parents. The parents are your buyer persona. So who are they? What do they look like that would sign up? A toy room organizer. Love that. You guys should get together. Art classes, toy room. But exactly. So the kids aren't going to look and say, hey, mom, sign up for a toy room organizer or art classes for the most part. Maybe the older ones might be interested in art. But generally going to be appealing to the kid or to the parents of the kids, right? So you're going to look at who they are. Of course, yours would say, yes, they do have kids. Are they married or single? Are they local? Of course, for those that are, local art classes or here we have room organizer. Now we have children's books. Now you have 3 of you to get together. The children's books might not have to be local because you can sell the books globally, right? What income level? What do they look like as far as education, right? Professional information. Are they a C-suite executive? Are they middle manager, entry level? What type of company they work for? Are they a boss or does somebody boss them? Somebody manages them? Their values and fears. Who are they? What's important to them? What objections might they have? And then what are their goals? Personal and career goals. And I'll show you some examples so you can see how buyer personas work. How do they consume their information? And then any negative info. Are they too difficult, too expensive, not enough budget? So those are different things to consider when you're building buyer personas. So I'll show you some examples. So this is what a buyer persona would look like. So this is for an animal rescue, an animal shelter, and they can build different buyer personas, right? Not everybody's the same. It's not necessarily what dog or cat you're looking to adopt, but we all have different needs and wants besides maybe a certain breed or whatever. But if you're going to go rescue a dog, there might be one, Bachelor Bryce might be one to appeal to, right? So you think, well, why would a shelter need buyer personas, right? Well, we're buyers when we adopt a dog or a cat or an animal. So Bachelor Bryce, 30 to 50, he's a single guy, lives relatively close to the shelter. He's happy, but a bit lonely. He lives an active lifestyle, stable job, but he has feels like something's missing. What are his goals, right? He wants to find companionship, stay fit and healthy. His challenges: he loves animals, but unsure about pet ownership, doesn't know where to begin to select a dog. So what can the shelter do to market to him, to help him, right? So they can provide pet information on pet ownership, assist with matchmaking, right? You want to base the matching on their personality and lifestyle. So he probably won't, since he's active, will want a more active dog, a working breed, perhaps, that can go on walks and jogs. Not mine, which I have toy breeds and they like to sit on a shelf. No, I have 2 pugs and they will not be a Bachelor Bryce dog for sure. So they can communicate the social and health benefits of having a pet. So this is what, and again, the animal shelter can build various buyer personas. Somebody who's like an older couple, they want lap dogs like I have. They're not an active lifestyle, so maybe they travel a lot, or a family with kids, young kids, and you want a breed that would fit the kids and their personality and all of that. So this is just one potential buyer persona that a shelter could build to market to. And so here's Working Mom Wendy. Sorry, this one's a little blurry. It's always been that blurry. That's weird. But this is for a medical group looking to appeal to different types of buyer personas, right? Patients, perhaps. So Working Mom Wendy, she is 30 to 50. She has kids that are under 18. She trying to balance career and family like everybody else, right? She wants to keep her family healthy. When someone is ill, she wants quick, convenient, reliable care. Her challenges are as her children grow older, there we go. She doesn't have the time or necessarily have a dedicated primary care physician, right? Her busy work schedule makes it challenging for her to take days off. And how can this group help? How can this medical group help? Provide online scheduling, same-day appointment for quick service, make easy access for accessible locations from work or home, and have online health resources because already determined she's gets a lot of information online. So again, one potential group that they'd be looking for with this. Now here's one a little bit different. Sarah student. This is for a coffee shop. They went, a little bit deeper with this. So she's in San Francisco and 20, single. She's a full-time interior design student, part-time worker. Now, why would a coffee shop care? Maybe they're located near her school and they're appealing to students out there. A little about her finances, right? She has a household income of $30,000, super conscious about what she spends her money on, prefers to use credit debit cards. I know since I have a lot of Californians on here, they'll understand I always joke about, she's super conscious about her spending. It's like if she's only at $30,000 living in San Francisco, she probably has 8 roommates and 8 jobs to pay for the rent in San Francisco. But she's online behaviors. Facebook is her lifeline. She's active on all social media, always looking for coupons and good deals. What is she looking for? Usually we don't think this hard and we say we're going to go down to the corner coffee shop, but in this case, they're trying to appeal to keep them in there, right? So she's looking for a place to decompress, a hectic week, quiet place to study, not distracted by her messy room and 8 roommates she probably has. Looking for a sense of stability in a chaotic world. Her influences in her life, not influencers, what brands, her hopes and dreams. So I won't read all of these out, but a lot of work goes into it. So again, what can this coffee shop do to make her life easier? Again, to market to her, right? Have a great atmosphere, inviting, relaxing, deals and coupons, maybe a job board, cozy seating, charging stations, online, drinks to go. So everything to appeal to this particular buyer persona. And there's probably others out there like her. So maybe they're in an area where it's all retired folks. So they would have a different buyer persona to appeal to those. So now they know how to market to Sarah's student, right? Now they have all this data built. They know to go on social media, and maybe some local, maybe at the school, they do some advertising as well. And then also, so I don't know if I have there are any wineries in the room. I usually do since I work and have a big winery list, but no wineries. But so just in case there's somebody in the room, wineries as well. People come in and taste and they're all different. They're like, yeah, they all like wine, but they're going to come in there and they're going to have different needs, right? And how you market to them is going to be different. Same thing. You have your image seekers, right? Somebody who's like, they know everything about wine. They want to impress everybody with their knowledge. You have the everyday loyals, probably like wine club members who come in there and love your winery, just general wine enthusiasts. And then you have your newcomers, the people who are price driven, and the overwhelmed. They have no idea what they want wine. They have no clue what they're drinking. So when they come into the tasting room and you engage in conversation, you might start learning about like, oh, I'm brand new. I've never been to the winery before. I don't know anything about wine. Just pour me some wine. Versus the one that's like, he wants to impress all his friends with all of his knowledge. Somebody who's price driven might not be the same as an image seeker. Like he wants to buy an $80 bottle of wine. She's like, hey, I don't want anything above $9.99. Right? So totally different ways you can market to these types once you figure out who these buyer personas are. So again, when creating buyer personas, these are the different things that you can look at when you're creating them. You might not have all that information that you can, or they might not make sense for who you're looking for, but, do this exercise and look at, and it could be various buyer personas, and put a face to them. Here it says a photo or a quote. Find face. It doesn't mean you're looking for, if you pick a blonde haired, blue eyed woman, doesn't mean all your customers are going to be blonde haired, blue eyed. Could be any pictures you want. You saw Bachelor Bryce and Working Mom Wendy, right? And Sarah Student. Put a face to it. Kind of helps, think about who that person is. What do they look like? Again, not that you're only appealing to that particular look. But hopefully all this makes sense. Very important. You're going to get a blank sheet to try this out. Build those buyer personas. Who it looks like. I'll see if I can give you some examples from my students that are my clients, my advising clients, who they have as their buyer personas. One was interesting. See if I can find it. I think this is it here. Yeah. So this one is from a beer bar, a local beer bar here in Los Angeles area. And for those in LA, it's in Koreatown. You'll know where that is. And he opened up a craft beer bar, not familiar at all with Los Angeles or how the makeup of LA is. He's from Oregon, and decided to go to Koreatown. And if you imagine by the name, Koreatown, very Korean there. And he didn't realize that Los Angeles, maybe say like New York, is very neighborhood driven, right? We tend to stick to our neighborhoods unless we're going somewhere special, but usually if we're going to go to a local bar, it's going to be relatively close. So you have to go with a very hyper local market. But so his buyer persona that he did for his marketing success plan, he's looking age 25 to 35. He put income low to moderate, didn't get specific, like over 100,000 or under 100,000. Gender, he's thinking a little bit more male to female. Family information, single or couples, no kids, they're renters, because Koreatown has a lot of apartment buildings there. Their wants and aspirations. It's pretty simple buyer persona. Community, a place to hang out, away from their small apartments, like a third space, he said. Quality, will pay more for a better product. So again, a little bit more for craft beers. He didn't fill out some of their fears, frustrations, pains. Ideal customer, no kids, more time to spend at bar, decent income, professional, more money to spend on craft beverages, interested in new things, not wanting to drink same thing all the time, and looking for a social experience. It's more than just drinking. So, him trying to find, and they also have to be relatively close. Even though it's not, I'm only about 10 miles from his bar from where I live, but in LA time, in traffic time, it might be like 45 minutes away, or an hour, depending on the time of day. So it's interesting to see how people choose. If he did this work before he picked the location, he might have picked a different location. So on to SWOT. Hopefully all makes sense. Any questions about buyer personas, definitely let me know. I can work through you with those for your business. So SWOT and USP. So what is this? Some of you raise your hand and say anybody done SWOT analysis on their business in general, not necessarily just about marketing. Does anybody raise your hand if you've done some SWOT at all? Okay, we got some hand raises. All right. So very important. And let me know in the chat if any of you who raised your hands, I don't know if there's 3 or 4 or 7 of you, did you find it useful for your business to do SWOT? And if you've done it, have you only done it once? If you do it, year after year. So for those of you who haven't done SWOT, so as you can see here, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I've also seen it as TOEs, so kind of working a little bit backwards. But exactly what it means here. What are your strengths, overall strengths and weaknesses, right? So things your company does well. What qualities separate you from your competitors? What kind of internal resources that you have that would be considered a strength? Okay, tangible assets might be a strength, right? What are your weaknesses? Things your companies lack, right? Things your competitors maybe do better than you. You maybe have resource limitations, or you're just unclear unique selling proposition. So what can any of those be reworked, right? What are your opportunities? Maybe you have an underserved market or for your specific products. Maybe there's few competitors in your area. Maybe there's an emerging need for your product or service, might be something new. Things definitely changed during COVID, right? Emerging need for certain products or services came up during that time. Press media coverage for your company, that could be an opportunity. Always great to get good press, right? What are the threats? Maybe there's emerging competitors or changing regulatory environment, right? A lot of things changed for businesses during COVID. We never want to get negative press or media coverage, right? Maybe there's a changing attitude towards your customer or towards your company from your customers, right? So here's an example, restaurant, right? So this almost could be my restaurant client. Few things that don't apply to them, but strengths: excellent, well-trafficked location, good reputation, good seasonal, locally sourced menu. Their weaknesses: higher costs in a comparable chain restaurant. Single location means limited reach. Maybe a small advertising budget, definitely. and not currently using food delivery apps or technology. Opportunities: growing interest in locally sourced ingredients, seasonal menu, potential for growth. If they're not using them, they could use the food technology, food apps, food delivery apps. Threats: intensifying competition from established chain restaurants. Maybe during COVID, not so much. Nobody was, building more restaurants at that time. Uncertain economic environment, regardless of a pandemic, right? Restaurants always have a 50% chance of failure. So throw COVID on top of that, all right? So gasoline on the fire. Rising cost of ingredients, COVID, my restaurant client, as soon as the pandemic hit, shut down, opened back up briefly, but he's from New Orleans. It's a New Orleans cuisine restaurant. And as if y'all remember, 2.5 years ago, New Orleans was one of the hot spots along with New York. And he lost a lot of friends and family right away. So he decided to shut down to protect his staff and customers. And it's still feeling COVID, can't get enough employees to come back and open up the restaurant again full time. So definitely a threat. So very important to do this for your business. Competitor analysis can be part of SWOT analysis as well. Look at who your competitors are against different things. You can choose, strengths, weaknesses. There can be pricing is an important consideration. What does social media look like? That's easy to find. Just go to their social media outlets online. Look and see how do you differentiate yourself from your competitors? Good points and bad points. Important to know. You might have competitors that are big national brands and services. You might have just hyper local ones or local ones. I'm marketing services. I could say I can do competitor analysis against huge agencies or another local shop that's my size. So it's all over the map. Pricing's all over the map. So you still have to narrow it down. Pick a few, pick a few that you consider competitors. So you'll get another page, easy to do, just use a piece of paper and draw across and do your SWOT. Invite you to do that. If you want to do it and share it with me, I'm happy to look at any of these for you. I think I had somebody in the class who actually did it during the class and he sent it to me after the class. So do the SWOT analysis. I'm going to look and see. I'm going to see if I can share. Again, I have a whole stack of these marketing plans for my clients. So I'm just trying to pull a few SWOT. Let's see. Trying to make sure I know what the client is here. Let's see. Okay, so this was the same one. The baked goods one. Trying to find the smart. There we go. SWOT. Here we go. So her strengths for her business: delicious product, baked from scratch, care and packaging and gifting options. Weaknesses: limited in resources, leading to increase in production, minimum production lead time, 48 to 72 hours. So she considers that a weakness. Opportunities: increased social presence through farmers market and PR contact. Great Yelp reviews for increased leads. So she wants to nurture those Yelp reviews. Threats, output, and production. So one person show. Her threats are maybe cake design, increased ingredient costs, browsing location for customers. So, there's this one, but just kind of give you an idea. Once you know these, okay, what are your opportunities? Go after those opportunities. So put it on, very important to put it on paper. So hopefully SWOT makes sense. And do this annually or do it every 6 months. Maybe things change, and especially after the wacky last 2.5 years, maybe you need to do new SWOT or a SWOT to look at, see what happened, get yourself refocused if you haven't done that already. So unique selling proposition. If anybody's brave enough to share their unique selling proposition in the chat, this is a no judgment zone. We help out each other with unique selling proposition if you have one. So what is a unique selling proposition, right? So taking this Venn diagram, right? We want to be in the winning zone. And that's between what your brand does well and what the consumer wants. That's the winning zone, right? Clear point of difference that meets the needs of the customers. We don't want to be in the losing zone, right? What your competitor does better than you and what your customer wants. Risky, could be a competitive battleground. We don't want that as well. And then the who cares zone. We don't want to be in the who cares. Competitors battle in the areas consumers just don't care about, right? We don't want to waste their time. Might be a product or a service you think is great, but nobody really wants it. I was dealing with that with a client. I won't give any more detail, but it's just like, it seems like that there's already a lot of people in the space doing it either cheaper or it just exists. And you're going out to, like I said, you're going out into that risky and that risky and also losing. It was always a combination of both. That it was just something that people aren't really, maybe they need it and they just don't know they need it. Or there's other things out there that already replace it. So we don't want to be in that. We want to be in the winning zone. So I'll give you some examples here. So here's one, if everybody's familiar with Bombas, right? So Bombas, they make socks and t-shirts now, but they started off just socks. Their unique selling proposition is not the socks. It is the fact that they, for every purchase you make for yourself, they donate an item to somebody affected by homelessness, right? So it doesn't work for everybody, but here's an example. Here's a box of 4 tie-dye merino wool socks. And it says, as always, one purchase equals one donated. I did find out recently, they don't donate a pair of merino wool socks. If I buy a pair of merino wool, they buy it, it's a different pair. But you can see here, this is a case of not everyone is their customer, right? There's a million pairs of socks out there. I don't know, hundreds or thousands of sock makers. These are beautiful socks, $78 for 4 pairs of socks. Their customer is not going to be the one who goes to Target and buys their 10-pack of socks for $5, right? They're going to be the people who are into causal marketing. Hey, I'm doing good by making my purchase. I'm sure I could probably find merino wool socks with this, fancy technology I think they have on the socks somewhere else without that same cost. But people who shop at Bombas know they're doing good. And that's part of what makes them feel good about their purchase, and they get some nice socks as well. Right. So that's their unique selling proposition. So don't worry about screenshotting. You're going to get the slides on all these. I just want you to think about these when you're creating your unique selling proposition. What makes you different from anybody else in your market? So you can do your distinctives compared to other providers. How are you different from your closest competitor? Do you have additional services that they don't? Is your service better? What services are more effective than your competition? Your niche, what physical needs do you meet? Emotional, spiritual, if that's important. Do you meet those needs in a special way? Of course, demographic distinctions. What particular age group, income, geographical radius, service. What do you do to go to extra mile, right? What kind of contact methods do you use? 24-hour hotline, toll-free numbers. You offer advice and technical support. What type of offers and deals do you offer? Particular, if you do, because that could be a unique selling proposition, right? Here's a couple more. Personal distinctives. How do you special skills make you more attractive? Do you have unique training, a unique story? So when you're crafting this, you don't have to think about every single one of these, but what would be important for you that rings to your ideal client. All right. Is the track record important? How long have you been in operation? Maybe that's unique selling proposition. Over 50 years of service. I was watching, I just happened to come across it. It was Buddy's Bakery Rescue out of New Jersey, right? Is he Hoboken, I think? And he was in Philly doing a bakery rescue for this old Italian family. And he changed the sign to the name of the bakery. I forgot the Italian name that it was, but he put, since 1904, they hadn't made that a feature, in family owned since 1904. So that was, there's probably quite a few Italian bakeries in Philly, I'm sure, but that could have been a unique selling proposition, family owned since 1904, over 100 years in service, right? Your vision, is your product service visionary in any way? Are you leading any trends? Why are you doing what you're doing? So all these things can be considered. So here are some examples. We're probably all familiar with these, right? Avis, we're number 2, we try harder. That's quite a different way to do it, right? FedEx, now this, I don't think this is when they originally came out as Federal Express, when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight, because FedEx, when it started out, was the only one that offered overnight service, and that's all they offered. Remember, it was like only overnight. Now it's ground on up. Domino's, fresh hot pizza delivered in 30 minutes or less, or it's free. I don't think they're doing that any longer, but that's, that was their unique selling proposition among all the pizza delivery companies way back. Target, expect more, pay less. Canva, if you're familiar with the design tool I use every day, empowering the world to design. Shopify, the platform commerce is built on, like an M&M, melts in your mouth, not in your hand. So we know you can hold the candy in your hand, it's not going to melt. HelloFresh, that's a meal kit company, if you're not familiar. America's most popular meal kit. That's pretty clear, unique selling proposition. Postmates, anything, anytime, anywhere. Starbucks, expect more than coffee. So those are some examples of USPs. So when you're crafting it, it's kind of not really like your mission statement, but how are you going to stand out from everybody else in what you do in your space? Okay, so keep those in mind. So your story, what is that exactly? So your story is your messaging, visuals, everything you do crafts your story, right? And why do you need a brand story? So a brand story sets you apart from it. So we don't really think of it with large brands. Like, we're not concerned about a brand story when we're buying our Tide Pods or maybe not our Starbucks or my, water can from Target, right? But as individual smaller business owners, people do care about our story. A connection to you could mean loyalty to your service or product. People want to know other people. They want to know who you are, why you do what you do. They care about you, right? We don't necessarily care, hey, those Tide Pods wash my clothes. I'm not trying to, build, maybe I'm building loyalty because I like those. I don't use Tide Pods, but whatever. But we do with individual businesses. We shop at down the street. We buy from online, right? We want to know who you are and why you do what you do. Customers make connections with you. Sure, they become loyal to a product, but a lot of times we want to know who's the brand behind the brand or story, right? And everything you do crafts your story. Every touch point you have with your customer is telling your story. Whether it's your websites, your social media platforms, your delivery van, if you have one, what your employees wear, what your storefront looks like. Everything you do you want to make sure that you're clear, consistent across all those platforms, right? Confused buyers won't buy. And if they're confused by any of your messaging, your branding, they're not going to buy, okay? And especially what you do. You can say what you do and tell them, right? So brand fundamentals, things to think about. When you get these slides in PDF form, write these answers out, okay? So important for you to, why your brand was created, but getting this out on paper, and again, I have my advising clients fill these out. It's important to just kind of like vocalize it in a way, even if it's for yourself. What are your brand core values? What do you stand for? write down the top 3, and how will your brand live up to them? Okay, because think about those things. This will help build the marketing plan. I mean, it seems like I'm, let's go deep into feelings, but it really is important to understand, why you're doing what you're doing. Okay, it was like, hey, I heard there's a lot of money in X business. Okay, but might be a little harder for you to get that messaging out if you're just chasing the money, because you don't really understand your industry, your business, if it was just going after the money. And it will show, right? And brand visuals, very important, right? So you're branding yourself with your online image, right? Anything you put out there, the image, are you telling the right story? So I mean, this is personal branding, right? So this is Janet. I know her personally. I'm allowed to use her pictures from Junichi Studios, a Central Coast branding photographer when I lived up there. Does great branding photography. But I know Janet from a women's networking group. That's how I met her and the photographer. And she's a life coach, okay? And she was using a picture, perfectly serviceable, nice, not really what she looked like currently at the time that Gina took her pictures. But, I was a joke with Jan. I said, it looks like, were you in banking? Maybe it was your bank photo as well, because I have that as well. Perfectly nice, but was really telling the story of who she is and what she does to her ideal client. So Gina came along and kind of zhuzhed her up a little bit and looked like more what she looked like now, just maybe a little bit more makeup than she normally would wear. But it's in telling your story. Branding tells your story intentionally, strategically, to appeal to your target audience. So here's a nice headshot of Janet, and she did some other pictures, kind of express, as a life coach, that she's warm and friendly, compassionate, heartfelt, open, accessible. Now I can imagine if I needed a life coach, that I can sit myself across from Janet and tell her all my life problems, right? And have her help me. Where the other picture, it's like, can I help you make a withdrawal from the bank, man? So definitely tells a bit more of her story and makes her appeal to that target audience, right? So here's mine. I'll use mine, no shame. So I was doing the same thing. I literally had I worked for a credit union, and I was an employee of the month for some reason, way back when. My fellow marketing team slapped me up against the boring beige walls in the corporate building. It was casual Friday. I had my credit union polo on at the time. And it looked nice. And I cropped it and used it as a headshot, kind of like Janet did. But, I have 2 different businesses, do the same thing. One's called California Wine Marketing, the other Golden State Marketing. So I wanted pictures that appealed more to who I was trying to appeal to, right? So the wine industry, I don't get to sit out there looking over the vineyards, drinking wine for my business. That's you as customers, as wine consumers. I'm behind the scenes pulling the strings and typing things out. But at least it's like, hey, I'm one of you, I'm in the industry. And then, Golden State Marketing came up with just more updated pictures, something that wasn't circa 5 years earlier kind of thing. So again, trying to appeal to a target and updated, right? Here's a couple more examples from Gina. This is one of her clients, Marcy Jean, hair and skin specialist. And she wanted to not only sell professional, but also playful. As you can see from her personality shines with her clothing and her look. But she also said, hey, she can do skin and hair, so that comes through. Another example, this is an Essential Coast, a shop that was there called Eastwell Mean and Tea. So they did body work and sold tea, obviously, and they're selling Calm, right, from the photos, showing you can come get some relaxing body works, come and sip some tea, very zen. And then here's Vinny. He's lucky enough to be a real estate broker in Pismo Beach, Central Coast of California. And he's not just selling a home, he's selling a lifestyle. So yes, he could have done the typical broker picture holding the open house sign or the keys, but he wanted to show his ideal clients who want to come buy a house along the beautiful Central Coast that you can come here. There's 300 vineyards in your backyard, pretty much in that county. You can come overlook the Pacific Ocean and eat a gourmet meal at the hotel. So he's appealing to people who want this lifestyle, not just a home, okay? So here's a branding for a business. This is one of my winery clients, Red Souls. And when I first met them 2017, 6 years ago, I mean, they didn't have any pictures at all. And they brought in Gina for an event. They're having their 10-year anniversary. And then I had her come back and like, we need photos. I can't do any marketing for them if I have no photos. So here's some example, what you would do for a winery. Share the details, right? You'll always have pictures, obligatory pictures of your grapes, your vineyards, your bottles, your glasses, all that. They're also a distillery, so they have cocktails as well. The products, you got to have beautiful product shots, right? So we can use them for marketing. And then the benefits, like what are you going to get when you come to this winery, right? You're going to have a good time. This is from events, so they don't always have music and food, but they have music, they have barbecues on occasion. You come in there and have a good time. Share the feelings. Here's people having a good time at the place. The tuxedo crooner is not a usual feature. That was for their 10th anniversary party. But you can see they're fun, like to have fun some more, sharing stories and people having a good time. And the people, most important, the people, right? So the owners, the two pictures at the bottom, Cheryl and Randy, are the owners. And then the tasting manager in the upper right-hand corner, Tiffany. This is why people come back. Like I mentioned, there's almost 300 wineries. There's some within literally spitting distance of this winery. Why do they come back, right? They have good wine, but there's other 299 wineries that also have good wine. So what brings them back? And if you don't tell that story, it's the people, right? They love Cheryl and Randy and Tiffany. I hear this all the time. If I pour wine for them, where's Randy? Where's Tiffany? You know, after 14, 15 years in business, this is what keeps them coming back, and loyal wine club members is the people, not necessarily just the juice, right? It's the only industry I know that has that many competitors in their backyard, if you think about it. In California, there's wineries in every state. I know there's some in Jersey, but here in California, you have 400 or 500 in Napa, 300 in SLO County, and 200 in Santa Barbara. So it's, you know, you have to distinguish yourself from the other competitors out there. Thank you, Carolyn. So once you create photos and also video, I don't really talk about video content, but video content is also very important. But once you have great photos, you can create great marketing materials, right, to appeal to your ideal audience. So you can do flyers and social media posts and all that. Before that, I had nothing to work with except some old barrel pictures and a really old picture of Cheryl and Randy that didn't even look like them any longer. So very important to get branding, good branding photography and video if you can, content, right? It's all about content. You know, just some examples with these. Way back when I used to teach live classes, it was easier to ask everybody to yell out, what do these brands convey to the world? What do they say? Whether you love them or hate them. I'm a total Apple fiend. I have every Apple product. So I do love them. I'll drink a Starbucks on occasion. But what do these two brands convey? What do they have in common? Right now, these are two big global brands, but whether you go to an Apple store in Los Angeles or an Apple store in New Jersey or one in Hong Kong or Paris, France, you're going to get consistency, right? They're going to, you know, might be different languages spoken at them. Their polo shirts might be a different color, the design slightly different of the building, but you go in there, you're going to get the same brand experience every time, right? Starbucks, the same. You have globally, you can go to one in Peoria, Illinois, Monmouth, New Jersey, or Paris, France. You're going to have pretty much the same brand experience, slightly different drinks, right? You might not have an Americana in Paris, who knows? But again, it's all about consistency. And we can learn from those brands, right? It's just all about consistency. We don't have to be a big global brand to get that. So telling your story, so this is a good exercise to do. I'm not going to do it now, but try to do your story in 4 words, right? So here's a couple, very simple, right? So Square, we all know Square devices for shopping. Run your business anywhere. Now, if I just said, hey, do you know what run your business anywhere is? That would be kind of hard to guess that it's Square, but it's a good way to start crafting your message, right? Tinder, it's how people meet. Doesn't tell you what type of people. It's a dating site, right? And so try this. Try your story in 25 words, 10, 4. start with crafting that. So I want to go back one step. Sorry, my mouse is too. This is important when it comes to your messaging, right? So you meet somebody at a networking event and you tell your story. Typically, I hear when I go to networking events, kind of the same thing. Here's my laundry list of things that I do, and people are lost. They're like, okay, I don't know, do I need that? All right, so I'll give you mine as an example. So everybody stay awake here. I'm going to have you guys choose A or B. Okay, which one appeals to you? We're going to put it in the chat, just A or B. Once I say them, okay, wait until I say both of them and tell me which one would make you shoot your hand in the air, because that's what I'm trying to achieve, and go, yes, 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 I need that. Okay, so this is me. If you met me at a networking event and I'm introducing myself to you, okay, so this is A. Hi, I'm Patty with Golden State Marketing. I help businesses with marketing such as social media, email campaigns, website development, PR, promotional products, and websites. I already said that twice, but that's what I do. You're like, okay, cool. You understand what I do. Now, B. I'm Patty with Golden State Marketing. I'm hired by busy business owners who wear so many hats, their marketing gets put on the back burner, and all they really want is strategic focused marketing that actually grows their business. So choose A or B. Which one would make you raise your hand? You got to be B, yay, see? So I want you to see the difference between the two, right? So I can give you the labor pains, right? But all you really want is a baby. Probably if you hired me personally and you came to, most of my clients come to me and I ask them, why did you call me? What's going on? They're not like, hey, I really need Instagram done. They're like, I can't get my marketing done consistently. I don't have time. I hate marketing. It's usually one of those two. And I just want to take it off my plate, right? So I'm taking away their pain. I'm taking away a pain point by telling them I do social media and email, and I'm giving that they don't care, right? If I threw up a hot air balloon with their name on it or ran a billboard or did an ad, as long as I didn't do anything illegal or over their budget, I don't care how I achieve it. I'm just solving their problem, right? Their problem is they can't get their marketing done. Therefore, they're not growing their business because the marketing's not getting done consistently. Again, the ends to the means of how I do it, for them, it doesn't matter. So think about in the same way, if you can craft your story, your elevator pitch in that way. I always tell people, all of my clients I work with, I go, get to the hand raise. So I'll give you another example of that. And I don't have the specific speech, but I was on a phone, not a Zoom, but a phone call with a guy. I think she was a life or business. I think she was a business coach. I forgot exactly what she did. And we had the same business coach who helped us with our elevator pitches. And so we gave each other our elevator pitch. And she gave me hers. And as soon as she said it, I told her, I go, my hand shot right up in the air. Like just, yes, I want what you are selling. I need it. So if you can get your elevator pitch and try it with some people to that hand raise, you got the right pitch. So work on that, very important. And it's not necessarily just so you can go to networking events. It helps people tell your story, your customers, helps to get referrals from people. If you can get them to, hey, I know somebody who's just so overwhelmed, they can't get their marketing done. Can you help them? As opposed to, hey, I know somebody who needs social media or marketing or promotional products. You need to solve their pain point, their problem. Give an example of another one I'm working with. He's an IT guy. Hard to get him out of the technical brain, but he does IT services, in case you get security leaks, your systems are running slow, all those typical things. And I said, you're not selling, IT cleanup services, security services, you're selling peace of mind, right? That peace of mind, my computers work, I can access my information quick. I don't have a security leak because, HIPAA laws, that's selling peace of mind. It's hard to get them to understand that. Don't talk about all of your services, talk about the peace of mind. Okay, so hopefully that all makes sense. given that you all got the B's, I think it does, right? So tactical plan. So that's next. Again, we're skipping 5 because that's the other classes, social media and all of that. You have to have a tactical plan in place to achieve this marketing plan that you are now doing, right? So what do you need to do to implement your marketing plan? Can you do it all? Do you need a team? Do you need to hire outside or an agency or individual people to do all the different parts of your business? And what tools do you need for that, right? So a budget definitely helps, but overall for your business, but a marketing budget. I don't have any special tools for this, so you can make up a spreadsheet, but you should work out what your budget is here. You can put your hard costs. Are you doing any PR, any advertising, social media? Do you have any costs, ads? Figure out what that is, okay? Super simple, pretty simple. You might have other accounting tools that you use, maybe QuickBooks. I don't know if they have budgeting feature as well. Marketing expenses tend to be, obviously the direct selling costs, advertising, if you're going to do any advertising spend, sales promotion, marketing staff, inside or outside, training and subscriptions. Generally, there's not too many hard costs in marketing in general. Right. And what kind of tools do you need, right? So these are just not all the tools in these categories, but CRMs, you might need to have a customer relationship management tool. These are just some examples like Salesforce, HubSpot, Zoho, to manage your customers and all of their information and how they interact with you. So next one, email marketing. So everybody should be doing email marketing, very important. And if you attend my email class, you'll know it is the best return on investment of any marketing tool out there. So make sure it is part of your what you do, but there's email platforms out there. MailChimp, Constant Contact, SendGrid are just a handful of email marketing tools out there. Search engine optimization. So a lot of the the e-commerce sites like Shopify and Wix have their own basic analytics on their SEO tools, I should say, not analytics. But you can use outside tools. If you have a WordPress site, usually the Yoast on there is the typical SEO tool. SEMrush, Moz is outside. SpyFu is a tool you can use to get competitors out there and see what they're doing on SEO and advertising. So that's kind of a spy tool you can do. Social media. So obviously, if you're doing social media, there's publishing tools out there to make your life easier. I use later.com, so you can post to all of them: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and TikTok now, and Pinterest. So that's a good tool to use. Sprout Social, there's Hootsuite out there. It's a bunch of them out there. Calendar tools. So I use Calendly. So instead of playing that game of like, hey, let's set an appointment to meet. Hey, can you do Wednesday at 2? No, how about Thursday at 3? Give them your calendar link and just have them schedule it at your open times, right? Sales tools out there. So lead funnels, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, Salesforce. If you need any type of sales tools, there are a ton out there to consider. Graphic design tools, Canva. If you haven't used Canva, definitely learn about it. Canva.com, easy to use design tool, designs every single marketing thing that you need out there. And you can use Photoshop or Illustrator, all those, but Canva is so much easier, but you'll definitely need a graphic design tool out there. And then finally, productivity tools. Maybe you need, obviously I'll show you a content calendar, to-do list, task list, etc. So those are just some to consider. You might not need all of these, but generally when you're running a marketing department, if you don't hire outside and let them have all these tools, right, then you're going to need to consider all of these tools for your marketing team or person, or for you. Right? And then the calendar. So I'm going to show you the content calendar. Some of you may, if you ever attended in my classes, you have seen this before, but this is where I find most businesses get overwhelmed, is especially when it comes to marketing, not all parts of their business, but they don't have a plan in place. And like, I don't know what to post. I don't know what to email. I don't know what content I should have out there on a regular basis. It's just because you're not writing it down and planning ahead, getting it out of your head and like, okay, I did my one post for the special we had, and now what do I do? And then weeks pass by and you're like, oh, I should do another post. So having it down on the calendar, and I'm going to show you mine, and you don't have to use mine. You can use whatever tool you want. Mine's a simple Excel spreadsheet, but use something, right? It helps you plan ahead, right? So my calendar, you're going to get the 2022, so you have 6 months to use it. If you want the 2023, I'll need to send me your email and I can keep you on my calendar list. But generally, my new calendar will be out every October. And I put it out in October because that is about when you should start planning for the new year, right? Don't wait until January after the busy holiday season. You want to do it in October, finish almost by November for the coming year. So when I'm working with my private clients, I have the calendar ready and we are working on it by November. So before December even hits, we're ready for January out the gate, right? You don't want to wait till the first of the year, because by the time we wake out of the holiday coma that we all go in after Christmas, it'll be like Valentine's Day already. Valentine's Day should be wrapped up in November. Mother's Day by Valentine's Day. So you should be planning way ahead, right? Get as far ahead as you possibly can. And you want it, mine's an Excel file, as I mentioned. You can load it up on Google Drive and use it there. So it's in one shared place. You're not passing one static file around. Use it for planning and archive purposes, right? So obviously for planning ahead, but now you have this calendar for say 2022. And when you're planning 2023, you could look back and go, oh, okay, we did that, particular post in March, we can repeat it, things that you might do every year. So it just helps you look back easily without having to go look at your social media posts, what you've done in the past. And then it just helps sync your email campaigns and social media posts by doing that. So I'm going to show you the different pages. Sorry if you hear some snarling. My dogs just came in the room. They're loud, grumbly pugs. So the file is going to have some different things. And just I'll talk briefly about this when it comes to social media, because I usually cover this in the social media classes, but especially for Facebook. These days, Facebook, if you're familiar, has a very low organic reach, less than 2% average. Organic reach means what you're doing organically, your posts, as opposed to paid advertising. So every time you post on your Facebook page, about 2% of your fans are going to see your posts. Okay. So it's all about being very consistent with your content out there, because it's all about getting reach. And the way to get reach is by engagement. And what I mean by engagement is people are interacting with your posts. They're liking, sharing, commenting. So if they're not doing that, they're going to start dropping off. And the two reasons, and I just want to explain it so you all understand, the two reasons that the organic reach is so low these days, the main reason is Facebook wants your advertising dollars, right? So they kind of hold back on that, and they want you to pay to play. But the other big reason with Facebook is the sheer amount of content out there. So 18 years ago when Facebook started, I said it's 18 years old this year, it was just your friends, right? Your profile, your friends and family, and you only had, maybe a couple hundred at that time, and you'd see everybody's posts in chronological order. It was easy to keep up. But as it grew and you grew your profile and Facebook added groups, they added your business pages, now there's more opportunity for content. So if you can imagine, if I had 1,000 friends and I like 50 groups and I'm or like 50 pages, I'm in 25 groups. If all of those groups and friends and pages were active all day, every day, I would have a never-ending stream of content I couldn't even keep up with. So the only way Facebook can control the content for me is they go, what's most relevant to Patty? And the only way for them to know what's relevant to me is if I interact with it, if I click on something. It's the only way to affect the algorithm. They don't know I'm sitting here scrolling through and laughing at my friend's dog video if I don't click on it and like it or share it or comment on it. So that's what we're trying to get, is engagement. So I always say the more you're out there, the more you're out there, right? So the more you're posting, the more people are going to see you. It's like having a storefront and you close the door every once in a while and people pass you by. right? Because you're closed. We don't want to do that. We want to keep on giving that awareness out there. So that's why I wanted to stop and explain that and why there's these certain content opportunities on the calendar. So one of the content opportunities, hashtag days. Some of you may already use those. There's a ton of them on there. I have some for every day of the week on one of the tabs. So you can use Motivation Monday, Taco Tuesday, Wine Wednesday, Wellness Wednesday, etc. So tons of them out there for content. And I'll show you how that looks on the calendar page as well. And content ideas. So again, trying to get that content, there's a tab with different content ideas by category, be the expert, get personal, timely topics. So you can answer FAQs, maybe time or money saving tips, solve a problem, answer questions. You can do personal stuff, generally on your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. Might be personal, maybe LinkedIn is business to business. You wouldn't do that necessarily as much. Trending topics, viral videos. We'll talk about national days, events, things like that. People love inspirational quotes as well. So you can do uplifting things, share a win, share about you as well, your business and who you are. Here's some content ideas. And then there's also now, I have video content ideas. So you can use some of these to create some video content. So that's a tab on there. And then national holidays, right? So we have all the traditional holidays on there, Mother's Day and Christmas and New Year's and all that. There's a lot of fun holidays, quote holidays out there. There's a website called nationaldaycalendar.com that has days of the holiday days and weeks and months. So say National Hot Dog Day, National Hot Dog Week, National Hot Dog Month. As examples, I don't know if they're actually weeks and months, but there is a National Hot Dog Day. And you can use these for potential content and have fun with them. So you don't have to go to nationaldaycalendar.com for the days holiday, because I now have a tab for each one. I copy and pasted from their website. So you can just go to that tab, look down the holidays list, and then if you want to promote them in any way on social media or email as well, you can just put them on your calendar. Now, I don't think we have any wineries in the room, but just in case for the recording, when you get the landing page with your assets on it, there's going to be a winery version and a non-winery version of the calendar. And the only difference between the two is the winery version has all of the wine holidays, because nationaldaycalendar.com doesn't have them all. I had to find them manually, and I just plopped them on the calendar for the wineries to get them. If you want to promote wine holidays, pull down that list, pull down that particular calendar. So, but that's the only difference between the two when you see the two versions of it. So choose which one you want. So how do you use these for an example? So we have on here, this is April. So we have National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day on April 2nd. Okay, you're like, well, why do I care about National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day? Well, it could be potential engagement, right? So a lot of us are nostalgic about peanut butter and jelly, ate it as a kid, and you can ask, hey, it's National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day. What favorite peanut butter and jelly combination did you like as a child? Or did you eat anything weird with your peanut butter and jelly? It's to get that engagement. There's might be some that are directly related to your business. Example, I mentioned my beer bar client. There's National Craft Beer Day. There's New Beer's Eve here on April 6th. There's National Bartender Day, National Repeal Day. So those are directly related to their business. All the winery holidays that I mentioned for my wine clients. I have a transportation and logistics business, a B2B, and actually this month there's National Logistics Day, National Barcode Day. I know, not exactly a barbecue holiday, but for her business, more content that she can relate to her business as well. So find them, have fun with them, add them as potential content to get that engagement, okay? So I'll show you what the calendar looks like. I have them laid out for both B2C and B2B. It's the same exact calendar, and I'll show you the B2B one in a second. It's just different content and how you use it, but it's used the same way and looks the same. So basically, again, Excel file, each one for each month of the year. It's color coded, as you can see. The reddish is holidays, orange is email campaigns, green are events, baby blue blog posts, and blue are social media posts. Okay. Now, when you change it to Google Docs or Google Sheets, rather, the colors might change slightly from Excel. But we'll start with social media posts. Okay. So for each social media post that you do, you're going to have 2 lines of blue. Okay. Ignore the fact that some of these only have 1 because I didn't do every single day for examples for this. But every single one that you do will have 2 lines. Okay. The first line is going to be what type of post are you doing? So is it going to be a hashtag day? Is it going to be, a content idea like ask a question or an inspirational quote, or maybe it's a holiday on that day? Okay. The second line of blue is going to be more specifically, what are you doing for that particular day? So if you look at the first week, on Tasting Room Tuesday, obviously it's a winery example, we're going to talk about our Thanksgiving wine special. On Wine Wednesday the 3rd, we're going to do our Merlot tasting video. I didn't do a second line for National Donut Day, but if I did a second line, it would be, we have National Donut Day. I'm going to do a chocolate raspberry donut paired with our Zinfandel. Foodie Friday, we're going to do Chardonnay and a fettuccine Alfredo pasta pairing. Let's see, we have Ask a Question on the 13th. We're going to ask, what is your favorite Thanksgiving side dish, since this is November. We're going to do an inspirational quote on the 15th, and we're going to do a give thanks quote. So what this does is you're planning this ahead. Now you still have to create the content. So now you can go, and whoever's your graphic designer, your marketing person, whoever's going to create it, they can go and create the graphic design for the Thanksgiving wine special or the donut day, and the caption and the hashtags, and get all that together. And then now, as specific as you can get, this will be for archive. So looking back when you're planning the next year, you're like, oh, last November we did the Merlot tasting video on the 3rd. You can repeat it. Easy place for you to find what you did in the past, and if you're going to repeat it or not. All right, so that's, hopefully social media posts make sense. So for every social media post you do, if you do 2 posts a day, then you're going to have 4 lines of blue on there. One for the what type of post, and the second for more specifically what that content's going to be for that post. Okay. And then email marketing. I'm sure most of you are doing email marketing. I might run a little bit over. So if I think this is supposed to be, I think they planned it 8 to 9:30, but I might, 11 to 12:30 your time in New Jersey, might go a little bit over. But if you have to hard stop at 9:30, you can get the recording as well. So that was social media. Email marketing works a little bit differently. You plan it kind of backwards. So here you see we have some examples of some events we have. We have our Thanksgiving wine special running. We have a Merlot 3-pack special weekend. And then we have the Black Friday through Giving Tuesday as potential email campaign material. So starting with the wine club party on the 20th, we have an event. So the very last email we're going to send is the day before. Okay, and then working backwards from there, we're going to do 1 a week, and generally for events, if you have the time, maybe 6 to 8 weeks ahead, give people enough time to plan to attend. And so we're doing it. So that's the event. And then we have the Thanksgiving wine special on, so we know 25th is Thanksgiving. We want the wine to get there before Thanksgiving. So the very last email we're going to send is on the 16th. Again, working backwards, so we know that's the last day that we can take orders to get it shipped to arrive before Thanksgiving. And then we're sending it out once a week, probably about 4 weeks ahead. So probably the first week of October is our first Thanksgiving wine special email. And then you can combine some of these. You can put the wine club party, maybe the Thanksgiving special for the wine club members, for example. You don't want to do too many topics in one email. Merlot 3-pack special is only running for the weekend, so we're going to announce it on that Saturday, and then a final Sunday last chance, so it ends at midnight. Remind them in case they missed it on Saturday. And then on Black Friday through Giving Tuesday, we did 1 email each day, different themes, different days, so that's 1 email. So that's how email works. Again, a little backwards. And then if you do blog posts, you can post those up here as well, and then post them on social media and email, et cetera, however you want to lay that out. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense with the calendar. Pretty easy to use. This is business to business, or sorry, business to consumer. Business to business, again, you can see it looks exactly the same, color coded, but just the type of content. So this was, for if I was doing a content calendar for my business, for marketing, I'm going to post up, my hashtag days are going to be Marketing Monday, Tip Tuesday. I don't think I was giving, all the Black Friday, Giving Tuesday, et cetera. I'm going to talk about an industry article for social media, how many hashtags to use, holidays that I want, non-traditional ones, National Stress Awareness Day, articles on stress release tip for business owners, National Philanthropy Day, how do you give back, as part of a marketing plan. So I can tie that all into my business. I'm not going to maybe do National Donut Day, for my business, unless I can tie that in somehow to my marketing business. So a little bit different. Again, looks exactly the same. You can use this content calendar if you are doing business to business only as well. And good question, Margaret. Sorry if you already answered. No, I haven't yet. How many emails do you recommend a month? Definitely attend my email marketing class. There's no set number. I know some people say, oh, I don't want to overwhelm my customers. And usually you guys are probably not even slightly irritating your customers yet. You're under emailing. And again, it has the best ROI of any marketing tool out there. Okay. So make sure you are using it. So generally it can be a couple of times a week. You could do it daily. It just depends on your list and as long as it's relevant material. Once a month or once a quarter, definitely not enough. Again, the more you're out there, the more you're out there, right? So if you're not emailing, your potential competitors are. So no hard and fast rule on that to answer that, Margaret, but definitely probably more than what you're doing right now is a good answer. And just depends on what's going on in that month, as well. So, but definitely attend my email marketing essentials. I definitely do a deeper dive into that. So, and then again, once you coordinate on the calendar, it's going to be easier to sync up your email and social media campaigns. We now know it's National Cabernet Day. I can create my email on the left and my Instagram post on the right, and everything's coordinated, as opposed to kind of scattershotting it like, oh yes, I should have done a post about that email, get it on paper. Use whatever tool you want. You can find, I don't use online calendars or anything. I want to keep it simple for my clients and my attendees to not have another piece of software app they have to use, but use whatever works for you. Okay. If you don't like my calendar, I won't be offended. And then measure and optimize, right? The last step here on the strategy circle. Always want to make sure you're looking under the hood of your numbers, and there's different places to measure, right? So content marketing, you want just how many downloads and views, how many leads or prospects you're getting, right? Website, you want to know your conversion rates, leads generated, how many visitors, what kind of sales. You should have Google Analytics installed on your site to get a lot more information than that. What is happening on your website, right? Where are they coming in from, right? Search engine marketing or pay-per-click or pay-per-cost, number of leads, your cost per lead or per click, and how many sales, is it converting, right? Social media, you want to know your leads, your follower growth, how much engagement you're getting, right? Again, the reach versus the engagement. Email marketing, you're always looking at number of subscribers, your open rates, click rates, and of course, your conversion. Is it working? If you don't look under the hood, you don't know if it's working and if you're wasting your time and money doing it, right? So different places to look under the hood, as I mentioned, just like your accountant's looking under the hood of your books and making sure you're not in the red and you're not losing money. All right, that helicopter passing by here. So Google Analytics, as I mentioned, make sure that's installed on your website and it's working and you're looking at it, okay? Make sure you're looking at those numbers to see there's so much valuable content there on Google Analytics, other than just, how many people come to visit your site, where they're coming in, how long they're spending, who's referring traffic to your site. Are they on mobile devices versus desktop? What countries or cities are they coming in from? It's a lot of information you can glean from that to help your marketing plan, right? All of the social media have their own analytics. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, they all have their own analytics and reporting. Email marketing, they have their own analytics as well. Look at that. What are people clicking on? Are they converting? If you can, if conversion can be figured out, definitely look and see, is anybody shopping from your emails or doing the action that it requires from them? But always measure, get those benchmarks and measure every month out there as part of your plan. So what are your next steps? Hopefully to create a marketing plan, right? That's why you're all here. Do you need help with it, or can you do it yourself? And what would it mean for your business if that plan was in place? So, and I always mention this, are you budgeting for marketing or waiting to make money to have a marketing budget? So hopefully the first, you need a budget for marketing, right? You know, whatever that number is, it's gonna be a small number to start off with. Do it yourself if you have to start off, which is still money. But make sure you do. Don't wait until you make money to have a marketing budget, because marketing is going to help you make money. Okay. So you're all invited to schedule a 15-minute discovery call with me. Ask any questions I didn't answer here. Spitball, strategize, anything you want for that time frame. Happy to help all of you with that. No obligation to do anything with me. So just scan that code if you want. We have to use QR codes now, right? Or just go to callwithpatty.com and schedule your time on my calendar, and happy to answer any questions that you have. So are there any last questions before I end? Just a few minutes over on time. I don't see any new one. You're welcome. I'm glad it was helpful. Definitely sit down and do the work. And I'll include my marketing worksheets that I give to my advisory clients, that beyond the ones that you saw in this class. So you can kind of, maybe I will say, ignore the ones that I showed you that are blank, because they'll repeat in my marketing worksheets. So I'll include that on the download on the landing page. So you'll get that and fill it out. You know, it's important. And anybody want to send it to me, I'm happy to take a look at it and give you some feedback on it as well. So thank you. You're welcome, everyone. I'm glad it was valuable information. So work on those marketing plans. I do teach all year. I'm actually teaching a class this afternoon. It's called Digital Marketing Essentials. It's for Sacramento-based business center. It's my kitchen sink of marketing. If you go to my website, goldenstatemarketing.net, it should be on there. I'm teaching that. I think it's 1 p.m. Pacific, so 4 p.m. New Jersey, East Coast time. If you want to drop in on that, it'll give you just a little bit of information about social media, email, and a bunch of other stuff on there. But check out my calendar. You'll get all the class information on there. So thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time, and I hope it's useful, and get that marketing plan done. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.